Good morning. Welcome to Mindful Munching with Mrs. Robinson. Thank you for joining us today. Today, you guys are in for a very big treat. I'm going to make something that's very complicated in my eyes. I've never done it before. I've seen it before, I've eaten it before, but I just never actually made it myself. So, this was also part of one of the healthy recipes that I got in my little food plan thing. It is called a brown rice stuffed peppers. Okay, so to get started, I already boiled my water over here, as you can see. That's boiling because I have to cook the peppers in there. And I've already made my quinoa, which I planned on adding to my brown rice, which I have already made as well. Now, quickly for the brown rice, it's pretty easy. I'm not like the bestest of rice makers, but I'm okay. So you just get any kind of brown rice, a cup of it, usually maybe 2 to 2.5 cups of water. I usually use 2 cups of chicken broth and then a half a cup of water, and then I cook it like that because it gives the rice a lot more flavor, and it just tastes better to me. So yeah. Okay, let's get started. I've already pre-washed the vegetables, as you can see in here. I have all of my peppers, as you can see. I love colors, so instead of just getting the green ones, which the recipe did suggest, I had to get multicolored ones. And what I have here, I have it soaking in some water and apple cider vinegar. It's just been soaking in there. I also pre-washed my celery and my spinach. Spinach is not necessarily in the recipe, but that's part of my Christina-fied process. So let's get to it. All right, so I'm gonna do the celery first. The recipe calls for 5 to 6 stalks. So I'm going to, I don't know if you can see me, I'm going to chop off a little bit of the ends, not too much. And to tell you the truth, this is not like totally necessary, but yeah. Chop a little bit of that off, put it in my junk bowl. All right, and then I'm just going to do this pretty quickly because I don't want it to be too chunky in the meat mixture. So I'm just going to split it in half, like so. Split all of these in half. You know what? I really do like celery. Like, I eat celery almost every day. By itself. I don't need to dip in anything. I eat celery. I like carrots, baby carrots, cucumber. That's kind of like my jam, my new healthy jam, that is. And it's good for you. Celery's pretty good for you. Now, if you're going to ask me how it's good, like what's the benefits, I don't know. I don't remember. Google it. But it is pretty good for you. So yeah, I'm cutting these up like so. As you can see, I'm not cutting it too small, but I'm also not cutting it too big. Okay, boom, done. There's some celery, putting it in said bowl. And I believe one of the little fun facts I know about celery is it takes more energy for you to chew it than the calories that it would make if you ate it. Does that make sense? Well, yeah, that's what it is. So kind of technically you're losing calories or losing weight, so to speak, by eating celery because it's like a negative calorie type thing. Now, don't take my word for it. Check for yourself. And any of you who are my age probably thought of the reading rainbow when I said that. Don't take my word for it. Da-da-da. I love the reading rainbow. I really do. Me and my brother used to watch that all of the time. I mean, every time it came on, we were in the living room or wherever watching that. And actually, I have a whole bunch of Reading Rainbow videos that I was gifted from a librarian, more than I will ever need. But yeah, and I was watching a few with my nephews this past weekend, and of course I've seen all of them already because I've seen every episode. But yeah, it just brought back a lot of memories, and I know the whole entire song. So does Marcus, but I don't know if he'll admit to it. But it was cool. It was good times. Anyway, I don't know how we got all the way off the track. So I'm cutting some mushrooms right now. These are baby portobello mushrooms, but if you want to use the other ones, like the white button ones, or whatever kind, you can use any kind of mushrooms. And actually, this is also not on the recipe. But how can you go wrong with adding more vegetables? I mean, really. You can't go wrong with more vegetables. Just can't. All right. Boom. Done. Next one. Onion. They call for a medium onion. The water is just about boiling over there, which probably means, you know what? Pause on the onion. Let's get these peppers good to go. So when you cut the pepper, you're going to cut that top off first, and then cut it in like a circle type situation here. Take all that out. Take all that membrane out. Take all the seeds out. Now, taking every single seed out, yeah, they want you to do, but it's not like stupid serious like if you were having a hot pepper. And if you had a hot pepper, then the seeds are really where all the heat is. But that's not the case here. So if you leave a couple seeds, no one will die or notice. Alright, so we're doing the same thing again. And we're going to do this with all of them. And voila! 6 peppers where I cut off the tops, took all the seeds and the membranes, flipped them over. Now, as I'm sitting here looking at the tops in my junk bowl, I'm hearing my grandfather's voice saying, Christina, or more so, Chris, or Chrissy. Oh, I didn't like Chrissy. But he was like, why are you wasting all that good pepper? You could put that into something. You could put that in your omelet. You could put that in another sauce. You know, save them peppers. You know, back in the Depression, blah, 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 blah. And then it went on for a very long time. But I'm not saying I might not do it, but not right now. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to now take these peppers, put them in this boiling water pot right here. And you want to put it so that the water actually gets in it. You got to do this quickly too, because you're only supposed to cook them for 3 minutes. 3 minutes, 3 minutes. So go as fast as you can. And you would need to use any big pot like this, tall pot. Of course, it really depends on how big your peppers are, how much you're cooking, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, just make sure they're mostly submerged so they can be cooking in there. I'm going to set my timer to 3 minutes. Go. Also, another thing that's not on the recipe, corn on the cob. Did you guys know you can make corn on the cob in your microwave? Yes, you can. I put them in there for about 4 minutes. It's good to know. Now, I put it on 4 minutes for my purposes because I know they're going to get cooked more in the oven, but they might actually be fully done in 4 minutes because these aren't really that big. I'm going to need a bigger junk bowl. Alright, so of course you can use canned corn, you know, that's cool too. Which normally I probably would have done, but I had a lot of corn on the cob in my refrigerator. I had a lot of corn on the cob in my refrigerator, so I didn't want it to go bad, so I was like, let me just take a couple out and put it in there. I mean, it can't hurt, right? Okay, I've officially out-junked my junk bowl. Do a switcheroo right there. Alright, so I know sometimes people, as far as when they're doing this, they'll like get a small bowl, put it inside a larger bowl, and then do it so that it's like when it lands, it's all landing in the bowl. As you can see, I got some flying all over the place, but that's okay. So whatever larger pieces you have, just break them up a little bit. Break them up. I forgot to throw at the ends there. But yeah, break them up a little bit. If you don't break them up too much, it's not going to kill anybody. Everything will be just fine. Okay, I'm going to put that in a bowl like so. Check on my timer. We've got 1 more minute for that. Okay, just a good amount of corn right there. All right, at this time I'm going to give my cutting board a quick rinse. Take out the spinach, which I don't really need to cut. After it's been rinsed off, but it is a little large, so I'm just going to rip it a little bit. Rip it a little bit. And like I said before, you don't have to worry about the stems or anything like that. Alright. We're getting a little too big for its britches. That's okay. Alright. 6 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. We are done. So, turning that off. We are dumping this out into the colander that is patiently waiting in the sink. Splash. All right. Oh, I also put the oven to 350. So make sure you do that, because all of this is eventually going in the oven. So I'm going to make a space over here for the peppers, because they need to get a little dry on some paper towel. I'm going to do it like so. Always keep. All right, so I'm going to take them out, flip them upside down. Kind of like you just like flash cook them, like flash boiled, because they're not like super tender, but not like super hard either. All right, now forgot the onion, so let's chop that up real quick. Rinse out this knife again. So we're cutting off both ends, like so. Put a little dent in right there so you can peel off the outer layer. I had a very old onion in my kitchen. It was like one of the last ones from a bunch that I didn't use that much, and it got kind of soft. So instead of me just throwing it out, I was like, you know what? Let me stick this in a planter and to see if it would grow an onion. So I did that, and as soon as I did that, my friendly neighborhood squirrel decided it wanted to dig it up and eat it. So I fed the homeless squirrels of my neighborhood with my soft onion. And I don't even like squirrels. I don't know about you guys. Actually, I don't like anything that resembles any kind of rodent. And a squirrel definitely does. All right. So here is our medium-sized onion. Almost done chopping that up. Okay. But yeah, I don't like rodents. I don't like squirrels, chipmunks, hamsters, gerbils, possums. What else? Okay, so, all right, so what we're gonna do now is start cooking the meat. So you can use either ground turkey or you can use ground beef. If you do use ground beef, the recipe did suggest that you use like a grass-fed organic beef, but you know, whatever you want to do is fine. Or of course you can use ground chicken. I personally do not like ground chicken, and people might say, oh, how do you not like ground chicken when you like ground turkey? It tastes the same. It does not taste the same. It does not. It tastes very different to me. If you think ground turkey tastes different than ground chicken, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, just do nothing. All right, so ground turkey does not have as much fat as ground beef, so you're not going to get that rendered grease at the end to keep everything moist in there. So what I usually do is add its own grease, which is going to be a healthy grease, olive oil, or you can do coconut oil, you can do avocado oil. Avocado oil is a little bit more expensive, but it's good. It's good for you. It's good. So yeah. Okay, let's round that about a little bit. All right, so now we're gonna add all the stuff we done chopped up. So first we'll do the onions. Okay, then we'll do the celery. That's gonna be a lot. All right. Then we'll do the corn. And as you can see, the colors are gonna be so pretty in this dish. I love colorful food. I love colorful meals. I don't know, it just makes me want to eat it more. And then I'm going to add the spinach. All this, and I have no room for the meat. You know, technically, this can also be a vegetarian or vegan dish, because I didn't even add the meat yet. And it's already looking pretty full in this pan here. So technically, if you really wanted to, you could just mix these vegetables up, and then put in the brown rice, put in the quinoa. It suggested us doing one or the other, but I want to do both. So I'm going to do, instead of doing 1.5 cups of brown rice, I'm going to do maybe like a half cup of quinoa, a cup of brown rice. But yeah, you could just add the rice to this and just cook this down and stuff the peppers with this, and you could be fine. If you're vegetarian and not vegan, you can sprinkle some cheese on top. And if you are still vegan, you can get some vegan cheese and sprinkle that on top, and you would have a nice meal. All right, we're gonna let this cook for a bit. Okay, so I had that cook for a minute, not too long. I still need to add the meat in there. I still need to add the seasonings in here. Before I even add the meat, I'm going to put my seasonings in. So first, I'm going to add some sea salt. Now, you can either use the coarse kind, or you can use the fine kind, or you can use whatever salt that you like. You can use seasoning salt if you want to. And you kind of just season it to taste. So I'm not going to get too crazy, but a little crazy, because when I add the meat in, which is not seasoned either, you want to make sure you have enough seasoning for everything in the pot, you know? Okay, then you're going to add some pepper, black pepper, whatever kind you want. You can use red pepper flakes, you can use cayenne pepper, cayenne pepper if you want, if you really like spicy stuff. People in my house are not really big spicy fans, so I don't really go crazy with the pepper. Next, onion powder. Add some of that in there. Actually, this is garlic powder. Add some of this in there. And this is onion powder, which I know you must be wondering, why are we adding onion powder if we just put like a whole mess load of onions in the daggone pot? Well, we're doing it because that's what the recipe said. So that's that. So give that a quick little mix around. As you can see, it's still looking pretty colorful. At this point, I would like to add something red, but I'm not going to because the peppers are colorful enough. And I don't think I'll have enough room for the meat. So I'm going to make a little divot, or more of a divot, a hole more so I can stick the meat in there. And then I'm going to cover it up with the vegetables so that the meat can actually cook, so it can get, you know, yeah, this is something I do. It's not like an official cheffery term, if that's even a word, which probably is not. So I'm going to now add the ground turkey. So I'm just adding it in piece by piece. instead of putting just a whole block in there, because eventually I'm going to want this to be crumbled up. So I'm probably going to have to go in there with a fork or go in there with a spatula to get these to be smaller pieces, because I don't want like hamburgers, you know, type big old chunks of meat. You won't be able to stuff the peppers with that. Okay, so they say that you should use about 1.5 pounds of meat for 6 of these peppers. I think this is about 1 pound and a third, but you know, I make up what I lost in meat with vegetables. All right, so we're gonna let this cook down a bit. I'm just gonna keep flipping this over, keep stirring it up. All right, now I'll be back when this meat's done. And voila! The meat and vegetables are now cooked down. During the process, I was breaking it up like so. I also added a little bit more salt because I tasted it and it needed more salt. And I added some rosemary, added some turmeric. So that's that. So I'm going to add my rice, brown rice and quinoa. We're going to add to that 1.5 cups of brown rice and quinoa. Add that straight to the mixture. And right now I put the fire on low. Okay. Okay. Now that it's thoroughly mixed, one last thing to add. We're going to add some tomato sauce. Now, if you can find the no sugar added one, great. But if not, you don't have it on hand, any tomato sauce will do. And you're going to use this whole entire bottle. Now, as I'm looking at all of this, I'm realizing that this is a lot of filling. I probably will not need all of this for my peppers. But you know what? Do not fear. Because whatever you don't use, put it in one of those freezer safe Ziploc bags and save it for another time. So whenever you want to do stuffed peppers again, all you have to do is pop your mixture that's already been mixed and made out of the freezer, defrost it, and voila! Only thing you have to do is make your peppers or boil your peppers for 3 minutes, and you got a pretty quick meal. So the sauce is getting very thickened by all the ingredients, which is good because if it was too loose, it wouldn't be good to put into the peppers. All right, so I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit. I'm gonna turn the fire off at this point. All right, so it is optional, but they do say you can add some cheese to the top. Now, if cheese is an option, I will be taking that option because I really do enjoy cheese. But don't go crazy with the cheese, okay? I would say maybe a couple tablespoons because you're just going to lightly sprinkle the top. All right? I think that's enough. That's enough cheese. Of course, if you want to get the pre-grated one, totally fine. All right, so now we're going to actually put together the peppers. So I'm going to move everything over here. Here's the container I'm going to use. I'm going to bring my mixture to the counter. And I'm going to start filling up these peppers. All right, so you want to fill them up generously. All right, don't be shy with the filling. Get it all in there and push it down because there might be some air pockets and you want to put as much of this delicious filling in there as possible. And for me, I'll probably even have a little bit poking up the top, like so. Okay, so it's gonna look something like that. Isn't this pretty? Isn't this a beautiful filling? And once you got it in there, you're gonna take some of this cheese you grated and lightly sprinkle the top, like so. pretty? Isn't that beautiful? All right, so I'm gonna do the exact same thing with these other 5, and I'll be back in a jiffy. And voila, come look. So surprisingly, I actually did use the entire pan of filling because these are kind of big peppers, as you might have noticed. So I just shoved it in there like I did for the first one, sprinkled all the cheese on top. I also add a little bit of water to the bottom of the dish. Not a lot, you don't want to drown your peppers because they're already cooked, well, partially, but it is just enough to cover the bottom so it doesn't burn. All right, so like I said before, I set the oven to 350. We are now going to place these carefully because you don't want them to fall. And also for one of them had a pointy bottom, so what I did was I cut it so it's like a flat bottom, and then I added the extra peppers to the inside so it would kind of like close up that plug, so that it would plug it up like a plug the hole up. So I'm going to put this in here carefully, slowly, and we're going to let that cook for 20 to 25 minutes. We'll be back soon. Hello everybody, we are back. So I'm about to check on the peppers. Okay, they look done, and my alarm is about to go off. All right, so as it was cooking, I don't know when, but the one that I sort of fixed, so to speak, fell over. The tall one, I gotta be mindful next time not to get a pepper with a bottom that is not standable. That's okay, because as my little sister Dawn says, cooking is not perfect. Let's get a shout out to Dawn. She's my video camera person for all of my videos. I appreciate her time, because I'm sure she has plenty of other things to be doing right now. So since this one's already down, we're gonna grab this one, take this one out. Ah-pa-dow! Whew, that was hot. Okay, and we're gonna see what this tastes like. I'm a little nervous, but not really. I mean, how can you mess this up, right? Let's see here. So, I was actually contemplating before I even took it out of the oven. I was like, how am I gonna eat this? How do I just like eat from the top? Do I have to cut the whole thing? But I guess it's already on the back, on the side, so let's just get into it. Make sure we get a little bit of everything here. And that is a mighty piece. Let's cut that a little bit in half. All right, so as you can see, all the beautiful colors in here. We got the quinoa, the corn, the mushrooms, the onions, everything's in there. All right, you guys, here goes nothing. I know it's hot though, so. This is pretty good, if I do say so myself. Very tasty. And the cheese at the end, it really just finishes the whole meal, in my opinion. Cheese makes everything better. Okay, so I'm not gonna sit here and eat the whole entire thing in front of your face. Mom, one of these are coming home to you. Do not worry. So yeah, you guys, I think this was a major success. Thank you so much for watching. Please, please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get any future cooking shows. I usually do cooking shows once a week on Wednesdays-ish. And I do my morning mindfulness minutes with Mrs. Robinson. Any past meals that I've made, please also subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can check out everything that I've done so far if you want to make some other tasty treats healthy too. Okay, so thank you for coming. Subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again next week. Bye.